Hello and welcome back to the KCC channel. I'm Rob and I hope you are having a wonderful day today. Today I have two stories for you, both with updates. Before we start that, if you're new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button. It's completely free and you can always change your mind later. Alright, on to the stories. Let's jump right in. This story comes to us from a deleted account. Am I the butthole for walking out of my birthday dinner after my sister and her boyfriend announced they were getting married? This was a couple weeks ago, but I still think about it. I, 16 female, had my sweet 16th a couple weeks ago. Nothing too crazy in that, but my parents and my extended family all came over, and we went out to a nice restaurant that my parents had booked. A lot of my family, cousins and nieces and nephews were there, so it was a lot of people. After we ate dinner, and it was time to blow out my candles, my mom insisted I open some of my presents so I don't have to carry them home. My aunties, uncles, grandparents gave me presents. After opening their present and saying thank you and that, my older sister and her boyfriend gave me their present. Inside their box they gave me was a "Will you be my maid of honor" card on top of the present. I was obviously confused, looked at them with a weird expression on my face. My mom came over to look in the box as well, and she loudly said, "You're getting engaged?" My sister squealed with excitement and told us all about her proposal and how they're already wedding planning. She said it was the perfect time to announce their engagement since all of our family was here. When my sister asked if I was going to say yes, I just nodded and excused myself to the bathroom. No, I didn't go to the bathroom. I ended up walking out and went to a nearby park. A couple hours passed by, and my dad pulled over on the curb and told me to get in with him. I expected him to yell at me, but he ended up taking me out for ice cream, and we sat at the lake and just talked. When I got home, I saw my cake on the counter, and my mom got up and started yelling at me about how I wasted money, wasted my family's time. My sister and her boyfriend came out and told me how mean I am for doing that to them. My sister ended up saying that my birthday wasn't as important as her wedding, and my mother agreed. My dad told my sister and her boyfriend to get out and ended up talking to my mom about how they could have checked with me beforehand instead of announcing it. So, am I the butthole? Jumping down to the comment section on this one, there's one from a user called Queen Potato Tomato. It says, "Not the butthole. They hijacked your celebration and made it about them. If they wanted to announce it with everyone present, they should have done the right thing and asked you first. Absolutely classless." Does anybody else here think that OP's sibling is like the golden child in mom's eyes, but dad knows that she's just a little peckerhead? OP, you're definitely not the butthole. Your sister hijacked your birthday to make it all about her. Definitely not the butthole. OP updated this one, let's jump into that now. The update was posted in a comment below the original story. It says, "Update. I am grateful for all the comments and your opinions, and I showed my dad all of the comments and what people wrote. He says, you are all hilarious and appreciates you all. He was laughing at all the stuff I should do at the wedding." My dad and I sat my mom and sister down just so I could explain to her that I won't be her maid of honor, as it's a big responsibility, and that it should be in the hands of an adult instead of a 16-year-old. Although she tried to convince me further, I still said no. She starts growling at me, saying I was ruining her wedding, that her and her fiance went out of their way to buy me a gift, which was her proposal box to me. Unfortunately, my mom and sister started telling me how cruel it was to ruin a wedding, and that it's not about me, it's about the bride. My dad ended up arguing with my mom about how it isn't cruel and no 16-year-old should have to plan and help organize a wedding, as that is what maid of honors do, and it would be too stressful and should go to an adult instead. My mom started arguing with him about how it's not my day, as I already had mine, and I should go forward with my sister's plan as it's about her and not me. My dad brought the birthday up and argued with my mom and my sister that she ruined my birthday, and if she didn't try to make it all about herself, we wouldn't be going. I don't want to go into too much detail of what went down, but basically my sister started crying, and my mom called me a brat and a disgrace, and how I've officially ruined my bitchy sister's wedding. I'm now staying at my grandparents' house until things cool down at home. I don't think they will, to be honest. My mom tells me any chance she gets that I'm a brat and a horrible sister for not helping my big sister out for her special day. My dad is with my mom trying to sort her out, and my other grandparents, my mom's parents, are talking with her as my dad told them what happened. I'm not going to be her maid of honor, nor her bridesmaid, since she's a dick. I'm not sure if I'll even go to her wedding. I'll have to just see what my dad thinks about it. My grandparents, my dad's parents who I'm staying with at the moment, are talking to my dad about considering divorcing or taking a break from my mom, as she and my sister are creating a toxic environment for him and I to live in. And that after all these years, they see no reason for him to live with such a woman. I don't really know what to think about it and feel kinda lost, but I thought I'd update y'all. You know how parents say that they don't have a favorite child? Well, OP, your mom's making it plainly obvious that she has a favorite child. OP, if your dad splits up with your mom, I think you need to go with dad because dad respects you. And I think your dad might be losing all respect for his wife and his other daughter. The amount of entitlement in this story is absolutely astounding. This story comes to us from Betrosi. I messed up really bad and said something awful to my boyfriend when I was drunk, and I don't know how to fix it. Before I get started, I just want to say I know I effed up, and I am the butthole here. My boyfriend is a wonderful human being who loves me and only deserves the best. Okay, so like I said, I, 29 female, have a wonderful boyfriend, 28 male, and we live together. He had a bit of a rough time with finding work, and he started a job at the post office where he works very hard and works 40 to 60 hours a week. I'm only saying this next part because it's necessary to the situation, but I make more than he does and work less hours than him, and we're struggling with some unexpected finances right now, and it's been causing some tension between us. Last night, I went to a bar with some coworkers, and I stayed out later than I should have and came home at 2:30 a.m. pretty drunk. My boyfriend was up waiting for me and told me he was worried about me, and I asked why he stayed up, and he told me he was waiting for me and I shouldn't be out that late on a night when I have work the next day. I don't know why this set me off, but I got very angry and told him he had no right giving me job advice since he doesn't have a real job and can't afford to pull his weight like a loser. He told me he thought I should go to bed and walked me over to my room and helped me get my shoes and dress off. And I just got into bed and lied down to go to sleep. But the worst part was, as I was drifting off, I heard him crying in the bathroom. When I woke up this morning, he had gone to work, and now I'm at work hungover, which sucks. However, I have no idea what to say to him now. He should be home tonight, but I don't know what I can do at this point to let him know how sorry I am, and how much I do admire him, and was just acting out of drunken stress last night. He loves steak and potatoes, and he's also a big movie guy, so I was thinking of making him steak and potatoes and renting a movie, but I just don't know. Any advice would be appreciated. Jumping down to the comment section on this one, there's one from a user called NotAlwaysRight543. It says, "Dinner and an apology is not going to cut it. You struck at his heart, and now you will need to bear your own. Spend the day in self-reflection. Be honest with yourself about whatever deep, ugly part of you wanted to say that to him. Stop pretending it isn't there. In that moment, you wanted to hurt him, and you had a weapon ready to go. The alcohol didn't let it out, it didn't create it out of whole cloth. Whatever resentments or insecurities or mean, nasty thoughts are hiding in your head and heart need to be aired out right now. I sound judgmental of you, but I am not. We all have those nasty little thoughts. It is appropriate and necessary, most of the time, not to share them, but to resolve them for ourselves and be better. You haven't, so they burst out of you when you couldn't stop them. That is why you no longer get the privilege of resolving your ugliness, which, again, lives in all of us, not just you, privately. You hurt him by showing it to him, so now you gotta resolve that in a way he can see. Confess it without defensiveness. Admit it. Only then will your apology have any real meaning. If you can't open yourself up to him like this, vulnerable and likely to be hurt in the conversation, then I guess make him dinner or whatever. But you'll know that it was an unworthy apology. OP responded to this one and said, "You didn't sound judgmental, you sounded frank. Thank you for that." I've got to be honest, if I was on his side of this relationship, I would probably exit stage left right about now. He's worked his butt off to get a job, wasn't able to get the one he wanted, so he took one that'll pay the bills and make ends meet. And OP lets him have this? Oy, this is horrible. Alright, OP updated the story, let's jump into that now. The update is titled, "Update, I messed up really bad and said something awful to my boyfriend when I was drunk, and I don't know how to fix it." So I've been meaning to write this for 4 days, but I have just been completely wiped of all emotional bandwidth. My boyfriend is working hard at his job right now and is racking up some overtime, so I figured I'd take a moment to post it. First off, some information I left out of my prior post. In case anyone didn't notice, I don't respond well to alcohol. I have no dependency on it, but my self-control and decision-making is really not good when I'm drunk, and I just get extremely vicious, and it brings out the absolute worst in me. On that same note, I had a group of coworkers who have been wanting to celebrate a promotion one of us got for the past 2 months, and Sunday was the first time any of us were free. So we were just going to have a Sunday afternoon chill that was going to end before 10. However, one bad decision led to another, and we all just collectively stayed until 2 a.m. with drinks. Second, I said what I did out of annoyance and upset I had with him regarding some financial decisions over the past 2 years that we're now reaping the benefits of. Long story that frankly doesn't matter because it's not about that. I'm still a little unhappy about it, and I expressed that in a very unhealthy manner. I'm so proud of him for finding a job and trying to provide for us. Now for the update. I read through the comments all afternoon, and then I wrote down a map of the things I wanted to say and waited for him to get home. Additionally, I got in contact with my old therapist, and he was able to squeeze me in for the following morning, so I called out of work the next day to meet him. My boyfriend finally came through the door, and I asked if we could talk. He said I could, but he also had some things to say. I started by saying I had no idea what to say to express how sorry I am, except that I shouldn't have said what I said, and I love him and admire him for how hard he works. I also told him that I was going to stop drinking, and I had an appointment with my therapist the next day. I also emphasized how much I appreciated how he waited for me and helped me get to bed after I came home, and how he absolutely didn't deserve what I said. He told me that I actually covered the bases of what he was going to say. He said he was very hurt by what I said, but throughout the day, he was thinking and said it was so out of character for me, he actually started to get worried. Both of his parents were alcoholics at one point in his life, but got sober. He told me he was going to tell me I needed to quit drinking and see a therapist or anger management counselor, or else he couldn't stay in this relationship. I told him I thought that was a very fair and sensible boundary, and I would do my best to do whatever I could. Then he asked if I could be honest and asked me if I meant what I said. I told him I was being purposely vicious because it came from a place of frustration, but I was intentionally trying to upset him, so I said some terrible things. He said he'd love to talk to me about that place of frustration, but then wasn't the time for it. But he told me that he forgave me and was really happy and admired that I'm taking the right steps to make things better. And we had a lovely long hug. Then I had a really emotional appointment with my therapist, and I told him everything that happened, and he helped me map out my feelings and how to express them to my boyfriend. The appointment went great, and I have another next week, but he thinks I should look into seeing a psychiatrist because I may very well have an undiagnosed mental health condition. That's the next step, definitely. On Wednesday, I had a sit down with my boyfriend where I expressed the frustrations, and he told me my feelings were valid, And frankly, he still kicks himself he didn't start a new job earlier too, because then his credit card debt probably wouldn't be so high. He talked about how he's always felt like he's let me down with his financial decisions, being unemployed for such long periods of time. I won't get into it any further, but we had a really productive conversation. So yeah, we're taking steps and are openly communicating with each other, and it looks like we're going to be okay. We've been snuggling together at night, and this morning we even showered together before he went to work. I have some trust issues, so I'm still very anxious he's gonna come back and be like, wait, actually no, I don't forgive you. But he's promised me he's going to be open with how he feels, which he has been. I think we're going to be okay. Jumping down to the comment section on this one, there's one from a user called Mikey True Love. It says, he is an absolute saint. I can't say for sure I would have reacted the same way as him, given the circumstances, but props to him. You owe it to him, and more so to yourself, to stick with your plans to get help. I'm happy for you two, and thank you for updating. Another commenter down below called Jocko Johnson 69 said, holy crap, this is nice to see. OP for understanding the damage caused, reaching out for advice on how to address it and make up for it, and actually following through. And OP's boyfriend for actually being level-headed about it and reading into it deeper and being concerned for OP. Okay, so I'm glad things are working out for OP and the boyfriend and they're working things out in their own way. But if this were me and my spouse had just said, I couldn't afford to pull my weight like a loser, I still think I'd be pretty much done right then and there. I would love to know what you all think on this one though, so comment down below. And if you're listening on the podcast, well, jump over to YouTube and comment down below. That being said, did you know every KCC video is also produced in podcast form? You can search for Karma Comment Chameleon on every major podcasting platform. I thank you for watching and listening. I hope you have a wonderful day, and we'll see you tomorrow.